Oh, is the music over? I always enjoyed that music. Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the first town hall of the year. I'm Mikna, community lead at Oasis, and I'm thrilled to be your host today. The timing of this is actually perfect as we've just returned from our team building where we planned our strategy for the upcoming 6 months. So perfect timing. As you know, the first half of 2024 is almost finished, and we've actually seen a whirlwind of exciting developments and achievements within our project. And today, we'll give you a brief overview of all the great things we've accomplished so far and share what's in store for the rest of the year. We'll cover, of course, engineering advancements, BD initiatives, community projects, our events department, who has a lot of conferences in plan for us. And of course, we'll be addressing the invaluable feedback we receive from all of you, all the users, our beloved community. Our team has also been working on a detailed blog article that covers these achievements and future updates, which we'll be releasing today after the town hall. So keep an eye out on our socials. And I just want to mention that this will be a pretty long event as all our departments will give updates. So just grab a cup of coffee, make yourselves comfortable. We're here for some time. We shared the form in the community before the town hall. We'll be addressing all of the questions we received during this event. And unfortunately, since it's going to be a long event, we won't have time to cover live questions. But if there are any, I'll cover them either tomorrow in the weekend review, or we'll release a post on Reddit or in our community channels. But all questions will be answered. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. And I would like to welcome the first guest on stage, and it's none other than our beloved director, Jörn Koss.
Hey, hey. Yeah, thanks,
Hello,
Mina, for the intro.
Jörn, as always, you're the one leading these town halls, and as always, I guess you'll be starting with the current state of the network, right? Could you give us an overview?
Sure. Yeah, so I think one thing, for now, we're still the only production-ready confidential EVM. To start with that. And yeah, well, that's true for now. We are making sure to improve both user and developer experience, as always. While developer experience on Sapphire is pretty good, there's still some work to be done to make it more friendly for novice developers, as there's some learning curve with more Sapphire specific things. And then on the user side, there's still a lot of steps to get rows onto Sapphire, and we're also currently working on improvements there. Some more details to follow. Then on the core side of things, which I'm more into, we've been working on like two main threads. One is doing more cryptography engineering to basically reduce dependence on keys with the introduction of threshold secret sharing. So this is a big thing for the Oasis network, as it allows us to go beyond just trusting individual TE enclaves and really making sure that our system remains robust even in the future. I mean, so far it has been, as I mentioned, like the only production-ready confidential EVM that is there, and so far so good. But we want to, as always, make it more and more secure. So the threshold secret sharing has been implemented in the form of the chirp protocol. So the current state of that is that basically the implementation is mostly complete. It's currently pending an audit, first like an internal audit and then also an external one. We want to make sure that all of the security related features are actually solid before rolling them out in a production network. There's also a governance vote, will be a governance vote to activate some of the features that are required for deployment of chirp. This has gone through on testnet in a test environment, and the next thing will be to do this on mainnet, which will follow in the upcoming weeks. So yeah, keep an eye on our social channels, so especially if you want to participate in governance. And then obviously there's the deployment phase where we will be deploying the threshold secret sharing in production after all of this is complete, and then basically switching over to that. And that is something that can be used in different domains. One is in runtime, similar to enhance our key manager committees or key manager runtimes. Then also for end users for various chain abstraction use cases. And then, of course, there's the off-chain ROFL agent use cases where basically agents would be would need to provision keys and store them securely. So basically with the chirp implementation, we can cover all of this in a very secure way. Especially this allows us that we can have different key implementations, and each one of those has like key shares, and basically this improves the resilience of the entire key management system. So even if one of those is compromised, that still does not break the whole system. And then, of course, the next thing to highlight is bringing off-chain compute capabilities into our tech stack to support obviously cool use cases like decentralized AI agents, trustless bridges, intents, and so on. And this is what we're doing with ROFL. So what's the status of that, right? So we've announced it and so on. There's been some part of that is actually has been included in the Oasis Core 24.0 release that's already there. And that has been out, and on testnet it's been running, on mainnet it's been running, and we'll be activating some of the features through the mentioned governance vote. But then there's also, the high-level application parts where basically there's this touch point between the developers who would actually want to do something with ROFL, right? And on that part, also the bulk of that also has already been implemented, and we're currently actually working on deployment of the initial version of that, and also adding documentation so that anyone will be able to experiment with some cool ROFL apps and deploy them. So initially, this will be deployed on Sapphire, so anyone can, with some tokens to stake, to create their own ROFL app and then just connect the off-chain apps and so on, and do anything that they want. Starting with, we'll also be providing some example use cases and so on, and we'll also be working on more AI use cases ourselves. Right, and then with, as I briefly mentioned, there's been basically a series of successful and seamless upgrades on the network. Hopefully they were seamless in the way that nobody noticed that they even happened. But yeah, with the transition to the new Oasis core release, and then also the new runtime versions, the key managers were upgraded and so on. So that all went without a hitch. So yeah, really kudos to our entire engineering team and everyone else who supported this. And of course, going forward, we are also trying to do more frequent releases of our different software packages, and also to make it more visible what actually goes into these releases, so that people are aware, at different layers, what is actually there. So maybe yeah, that's for the current state. So I don't want to be too long.
No. This is all very interesting, and I'm sure our audience wants to know everything that's happening. And I know I always say this, but I don't know how you guys do it, like your machines. And I think BD can attest to the fact that ROFL is already causing quite a buzz, and people want to see how they can implement. But next question would be, what is the short-term and long-term vision for our network?
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I think I would start with the long-term vision first. Definitely, I think the most important thing for Oasis is having a broad and active ecosystem of AI and privacy dApps that's powered by Oasis infrastructure. This is something that requires basically the collaboration of everyone, engineering, BD, community, all of our partners and all of our users. So yeah, to really make this push and make sure that actually we are enabling cool use cases. Then on the short-term stuff, it's well, a few things. One is increasing TVL. That is something that's important, like for any network, because that obviously brings liquidity, makes it easier to like compose protocols and so on. So there's like some steps to do there. Then, of course, more partnerships with new use cases that we will be supporting and enabling with both like from the technology side to like and also like on the marketing and BD sides. So basically to enable our partners who are building on Oasis to succeed in bringing like cool use cases to the users who will actually benefit from this. So it's not just about technology for the sake of technology. And then one other thing is also expansion to Asian markets where we've not been so active in the past, but yeah, definitely something that we are working on. And of course, as I said, like the technology is about enabling more use cases and making them easier. So like with Raffle, what's it about is actually making it easily accessible, like having this built-in support across the tech stack for use cases like advanced AI that needs to leverage T's for their performance. So basically this combination that I've been mentioning a bunch of times. So basically Intel TDX and NVIDIA GPUs with their T implementations. And I think the goal there is that Raffle should make people Raffle because it's so easy to do something with it. So that's, I think, the goal. And yeah, we'll be making sure that we succeed at it. And then, as I mentioned, like completing the audit and deploying Chirp in production to really improve the security of the key management side and exposing these advanced key management capabilities to runtimes, Raffle applications, and then end users. Maybe one thing that we haven't mentioned so far is also cranking up scalability to support more and faster paradigms. So some of that we have started with like onboarding partners that have use cases that require deploying their own paradigms. And obviously we want to do more of that and we want to make sure that this scales. And especially where we've been lacking so far is this interoperability between like if you have a sea of paradigms, like how do they interoperate? Well, actually in the background we've been like the primitives have actually been implemented, and this enables interoperability via trustless proofs between paradigms. So this is something that's already possible. It's just not currently exposed, and this is something that we just need to do the final step to enable this. And yeah, then that opens up the way to having like many paradigms and having them communicate trustlessly. And then one thing that I want to briefly touch on is also having support for ephemeral paradigms, as I would like to call them, basically to enable things like verifiable sessions. So imagine someone needs to spin up a paradigm just for a single session, then it executes that session, maybe with different security assumptions. And after the session is complete, then do settlement back to one of the other more permanent runtimes. So that is something that we want to enable, and it goes hand in hand with this, expansion to multiple paradigms and this cross-paradigm proofs and so on. And the one use case where this seems like a good fit is gaming, actually, where you maybe don't want to keep all of the history of all of the game sessions, right? But you still want to make sure that the games are verifiable on chain. So basically, you would, in this case, like be able to spin up an ephemeral paradigm, and just play your game in this ephemeral paradigm, and at the end, just after the end state is known and proven, you can settle back and communicate with one of the more permanent paradigms to, for example, exchange funds or something like rewards at the end, right? And yeah, this then, because these ephemeral paradigms can have different security assumptions, they can also be faster than the more permanent ones, where we really want to make sure that everything is finalized. So yeah, that's one direction that we are also exploring. And then on the T side, we I think I mentioned this before. So we want to boost T transparency and infrastructure robustness by doing this decentralized attestation collateral registry, which is basically taking one of the services from the attestation collateral providers like Intel and having it implemented actually in our own network in a decentralized way, so that we don't really need to rely on Intel for all the verifications, but we can have all the data needed to verify the attestations ourselves, which both boosts transparency, right? Because anyone can see if there's like some misbehavior from the certificate issuers, similar to like the TLS certificate transparency efforts. And it also makes the whole system more robust and decentralized, which is the end goal, basically decentralizing all of the components. And obviously, we want to make the developer experience better, so improvements in docs and onboarding experience, support for more frameworks, common SDKs, having more dApps, more production and demo dApps to showcase various features and so on. So yeah, that would be like the short term part.
I think that also will help BD a lot, having more dApps and use case they can show. And I really love that we're experimenting with different encryption technologies, that we don't have to be dependent on one thing. That's actually very cool. Okay, so I don't want to keep you for longer, Irene, but we do have one question that was shared by one of our community users. And that question is, so now that Oasis Smart Privacy is for both Web3 and AI, and there is the ECC in work, how is Oasis positioned in terms of planning to impact Web4 as an evolved iteration of Web3? Also, how is the Oasis technology positioned in terms of or planning to impact quantum computation in blockchain and AI, which can be both an opportunity and a threat? This is a long question, I know.
Wow, that's a long question. Okay, let's maybe break it down into two parts. I heard like the first part is about like Web4 and the other one is about quantum computation.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe let's so for Web4, like well, we haven't solved Web3 yet, but we're already talking about Web4. But yeah, we are like in blockchain, right? We should be looking forward and seeing what we can deliver. So yeah, let's say if Web4, like my understanding is that this is basically would be some sort of an autonomous agent web, right? And I think Oasis as a platform is well positioned as infrastructure for such agents. Why? So, so first, agents, well, they need at least two things. So they need privacy for their thoughts and their interactions. So basically, their internal state shouldn't be known unless otherwise it's not very valuable, right? If it's known to the whole world. And without privacy, that's not possible. And what is Oasis doing? Well, it's implementing various privacy technologies to make this possible. So that's definitely a good fit. And then the second part is agents, being agents, need to interact with the external environment and also with other agents. And this is, well, one of the reasons why we've built Raffle, and Raffle makes this possible. So it's, and these two things go hand in hand, right? So having privacy and both support for these off-chain advanced use cases that require more compute, and even like things like access to GPUs. Yeah, I think the future is bright for Oasis to position itself as a infrastructure for Web4 as well, if we frame it like that. Obviously, there's a way to go, right? To make sure, I think the main issue will, as always, be how to make all of this really seamless to use, like easy to use and accessible to both developers and users, because say like talking about autonomous agents is easy, but making them really useful for people is the hard part.
Exactly, user experience is the most important one.
All right, sorry. Then the other part is the quantum computing, right? Right. Yeah. So let's. So one thing is that Oasis the whole Oasis tech stack is built in this modular way so that we can evolve different parts of the system. So like we can evolve, the paradigms independent of in some manner of the consensus layer. We can evolve the consensus layer and so on. We can also evolve different ciphers, right? So to use, for example, quantum resistant key exchange protocols. And actually, if I remember correctly, it was one of the Oasis contributors that was among the first to both propose and implement a quantum resistant extension of the noise protocol framework, which is basically a protocol framework for enabling transports between like secure endpoints. And this is actually what we are using to protect our inter-TE communications. So definitely we are well aware of various solutions in that space. Obviously, we are still somewhat early with choosing the best primitives there, and there are certain performance and security trade-offs. And of course, we wouldn't want to come up with something that's like with a scheme that's less secure than what we already have. Even because there were some quantum computer resistant ciphers that were basically shown to be broken even against classical attacks. So that's definitely not something that we would want. So yeah, but again, we are definitely aware of all of these developments.
So you heard it here first. We're positioned for for quantum attacks. Okay, thank you so much, Ernest. This was very comprehensive, and thank you for all the details. Next up, we have engineering updates. And I would like to invite to the stage two people I admire very much. Today, Director of Engineering, and Harry, Technical Product Manager for Sapphire and OPL. Hi, guys.
Hey, nice to be here.
Hi, guys.
Hello. First off, I would like to congratulate you both on an amazing job done over the past 6 months. Like, there were a lot of updates, as your name mentioned. The engineering department is simply amazing. And I would like to start off with Sapphire and OPL. And what are the updates that happened over the past 6 months? Maybe Harry? Yeah.
So over the past 6 months, we've had the introduction of Sapphire 0.7 and a few different sort of point releases of that. And of course, we've got a big pipeline, so everything goes through the Oasis core, the Oasis SDK, and then onto Sapphire testnet, and then deployed onto mainnet. So the features that you're seeing being implemented 6 months ago or a couple of months ago, they go through a thorough testing process. Sometimes we require like consensus upgrades, and Yone is doing a great job of making sure those go really, really smoothly. And then eventually the features filter through down to Sapphire. So we've introduced, many sort of behind the scenes things that are preparing for things to come in Q3 and Q4, like liquid staking, the cross-paradigm messaging, of course, off-chain verifiable compute, and of course, we're trying to keep up with the Ethereum ecosystem. So there are lots of small tweaks we need to do to better support dApp developers, and things like CreateX and Multicool, and keeping our eyes on the upcoming ERCs that are being released into the Ethereum mainnet. And of course, things like account abstraction and maybe blobs. These are still things that we're thinking about, but they will require an upgrade to the EVM interpreter that we're using, so we can be more streamlined with developments that are happening in the Ethereum ecosystem. So overall, we're really working towards making it easier for developers, and with all of these sort of auxiliary services that they need, making sure that they kind of work out the box, and we've got good documentation, good examples. But I'm happy to say that generally Sapphire is working really well. We've got like improved tests and compatibility for SDKs and frameworks, and a lot of that has come through working with partners, who are deploying on Sapphire. So these are people that are really using the product, and that's some really, really good feedback. At the same time, we're also constantly discovering new ways to use confidential EVMs, and there is a big difference between EVM and confidential EVM, even though it's semantically a very, very small difference. So I do hope in the future more projects will adopt decentralized verifiable computation. and to do things like reimagine tokens and NFT standards or vaults and intents using the sort of the fairly big changes to the way that we're doing things currently that are coming out through the Oasis ecosystem. So it might not sound like much, but the Ethereum ecosystem is moving very, very fast. And there are many developments around like account abstraction, cross-chain communication, of course, the ROFL and verifiable off-chain compute. And we are paying a lot of attention to that and trying to see, well, how can we let dApp developers and smart contract developers use these technologies? What do the standards look like when we introduce these? And it all sort of ties into making the contracts more autonomous, more private, more connected with like both Web 2 and Web 3 services. I think on the Sapphire SDK side, we're definitely working towards fully supporting ROFL so that you can have off-chain logic tightly integrated with not just contracts on Sapphire, but via Sapphire to integrate with contracts on other chains, and maybe not just on other chains, but the rest of the world, right? So I think you do have to remember, though, that with confidential EVM, many other chains they're kind of still playing catch up. And sometimes because they don't have trust execution, they don't have things like that, they come up with like complicated and over-engineered ways to fix things like MEV or on-chain randomness or privacy. While with Sapphire, we've had this built in for months or even a year or so. And that's just because we're using trust execution and it kind of works out of the box. So we're still looking to see what effect that has in the next 6 months to a year and how that impacts the rest of the ecosystem.
Nice. I know this is a very fast-paced industry, Harry, and I know users. We always have questions from the community, like, do you support this standard and this standard? I love how you guys are keeping up with everything all the time. Okay, my next question I think will be for today, and this is regarding the Nexus and the Explorer. What are the updates for those, and what's coming up next?
Yeah, I think one big thing that happened in this half year was we replaced the old Block Scout Explorer for Sapphire and Emerald with our own Oasis Explorer. I hope that the community likes that. I think the UI is much more appealing, and hopefully it's also like feature complete enough, even though we are still working on adding more features. I think the other thing was perhaps not so visible to the community yet, but we extended Nexus and Explorer to support custom paradigms. So we have a partner, Delta DAO, that are working on a Pontus X paradigm. And we did the groundwork for supporting custom paradigms. And we can proudly say now that we fully support like Pontus X paradigm on testnet. They are not on mainnet yet. They have two testnet paradigms, one they call DevNet and the other Pontus X testnet. And they also can host their own instance of the Explorer. So it's yeah, very nice architecture. You only need to make custom configurations. No need to fork the Explorer code for that. I think another big progress was made on consensus support. So like if you go to the development deploy explorer.dev.oasis.io, you'll see the work in progress on that. And I think like lots of smaller things that are perhaps not immediately noticeable, but still are very important for UX. So NFT support, named accounts, etc. I think those were sort of like the big wins in the last 6 months, I think. And what's coming next for Nexus and Explorer? Of course, the completion of consensus support. On the Nexus front, we'll continue working on improving its performance and scalability as we expect, of course, the network to grow more and more. There will be more and more transactions, and we'll need to index them and then display them. So we need to be prepared for that. So the Nexus team is working on that. Also, on the Explorer front, we already did the designs for improved token pages, so it will be easier to find the most relevant tokens with the biggest TVR and liquidity. We're also working on improving the activity pages in the Explorer, so it will be easier to see your history, transactions, events, etc. of course, one big thing is like we are confidential EVM with Sapphire, so we will pilot features to make working with confidential or private data more seamless. For example, offer the ability for users to connect their MetaMask, and if they wish, decrypt their own transaction history if they so desired, and store the ephemeral keys when they actually did the transaction. So um, we will start piloting those things to make those users that like don't want to completely erase their history or like keep it encrypted to have the ability to recall it back if they want, but only they can decrypt it if they connect their wallet. Another thing I think will be, of course, we are listening to your community, and we are hearing like staking rewards display is a big thing. So I think we'll also work on that. One other thing, I think it's also been sort of shouted out by the community was to have a direct way of interacting with dApps. So like dApps have an API, and they have some methods which from which you can read data or write to them. So initially, we'll just have like I think we'll call it Sapphire API Playground, where you'll be able to, let's say, enter a smart contract address. It will like list the methods it has, and like you'll be able to interact with it without the need for a dApp. So basically, for power users or developers, yeah, if this proves to be like useful, we'll work on integrating it more into Explorer proper after piloting it in a dApp. So yeah, I think quite exciting times for Nexus and Explorer.
This is actually a really, really good update because community has been asking for this a lot. And regarding rewards, I love it that we're working on a version for this. But I know people ask us about rewards all the time. Oasis can already implement like I think a limited version of this. I think people can see the rewards for the past 30 days. I might be mistaken. But until we build our own custom solution, users can revert to that as well. Okay, this is actually very important because I think it's the most frequent asked question that we have we get in the community, and that's regarding the Oasis wallet updates.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. No. Of course. Yeah. I thought like exports of or like.
No.
But yeah, the wallet as well. So yeah, on the wallet front. So as community has seen, like one of the big things I think in this past 6 months was as part of our Oasis brand refresh, Oasis wallet was renamed to Rose Wallet and sort of given a small facelift. I hope users liked it. I know that I like it more now. One thing that's been frequently requested, the native mobile wallets. I can say that the native mobile wallet for Android has successfully passed the internal testing. So as Mina hinted, like we were at a team building event in Ljubljana, the team was able to test it, and I don't think there were any like big things or like big bugs found. So we are now just like pending Google Play Store review and publishing process, and fingers crossed Google will approve it soon, and then we'll have it. And iOS, I'll talk about it later, will follow next. And the new extension for those that prefer to use desktop browsers is also ready for testing. Like the beta is like downloadable on our Oasis Wallet GitHub repo. One important thing that also happened in the past 6 months was the release of Oasis Ledger app version 2.5, which supports signing paratime transactions. So that will mean that like you can do more with your Ledger Oasis wallet and don't need to transfer rose to some other wallet type to be able to do pair time transactions. Yeah, I think we did also like a range of UX improvements across the wallet. So hopefully users liked it, but I'll talk more about the future rather. I think, yeah, as I mentioned, like we'll do an iOS adaptation, and then hopefully the Apple App Store will publish it soon. I think a frequently requested thing was a MetaMask Snap, and I'm happy to say that we already started development on that. I think here, like for those that perhaps don't know, like snaps are sort of like extensions, plugins for MetaMask, by which you can introduce support for like other chains, or in our case, because Sapphire is confidential, we want to basically start with enabling users to see what kind of Sapphire encrypted transactions they are signing. So like the unencrypted transaction will go to MetaMask, users will be able to see them, and then the snap will be able to know the Sapphire specific encryption method, and like will encrypt it and then sign it. So like the UX of using Sapphire will improve, and then this is just the beginning. We'll see like how community sort of likes it, and we can add more and more features there. I think like those that sort of have used the new Explorer will see that the Rose Wallet UI is not up to pair. So like we'll do an overhaul and improve it so it will be on pair with Explorers. And I think like we are now going beyond just the wallets in Explorer. So we embarked on like doing dApps that improve the user or developer experience. So like in the past, we did like rows and wrapper. So you can just like seamlessly have rows or wrapped rows on Sapphire. As sort of also one other example, like we did like a small neat voting tool, Oasis Voti. And in the future, I think like one thing that's like heavily in development is the Rose Unstaker app. So basically like a dApp that will enable easily staking through Sapphire. Note that this will be like similar to how like users stake now on their consensus Rose wallet. And it will just be like you pick the validator, you pick the amount, you stake with them. So no liquid staking, because liquid staking, I think BUIDL will tell more, is in development with our partners. So that's coming there. And another thing where also we are seeing a bit of a sort of friction is the number of steps needed for community or like our users to get their rows into Sapphire to then start with playing with dApps, playing with like things that are on Sapphire. And we, until we have, for example, support by centralized exchanges or like on-ramp, fiat on-ramp providers to directly withdraw to Sapphire, which by the way we are working on and hopefully we'll have it soon. I think the second best thing is to have like a simple dApp. You connect your MetaMask, it generates a consensus address that's unique to you. You deposit your rows there, and then this dApp takes care of the rest. So like voila, your rows is in MetaMask, hopefully in like tens of seconds. Yeah, and I don't know, like perhaps I'm going long, but like it's so many updates. So like we're also working on a side DAO app. So the DAOs, like they want confidential voting, right? But like it's hard to start, you know, like perhaps hard to justify like a big investment. So for them, we are doing like this sort of side DAO. So imagine like you have like a DAO, like you have your community, but you want to test waters on some proposal. So like what we will offer is like a wizard where you can do a confidential poll. Basically, like you set up like the question, the answers, how much you want to subsidize the transaction fees. Like you can, the project can decide to subsidize all up to a certain amount of votes, and the end time and whether the results are then revealed or not. And that's it. And they can even like custom brand it so that like if you're, I don't know, a big project, it will appear as if it's like your own small poll, confidential poll. So that's also in development. Yeah, I don't know what else. Like translations. Like we want to do more translations here. I want community to help. So like if you speak a language
We
that's
will.
not already supported, please contribute translations. Yeah, Mina will tell you more, or Mateusz is our like in-house expert for doing translations. So yeah, hopefully this was informative.
Regarding translations, I'll give more updates during my section, but I think ambassadors will help us achieve this. So we'll have some special bounties for them. But yeah, these are all amazing quality of life updates. A lot of things that the community asked for and needs, because as we all know, we have a lot of users that have their tokens staked and they don't want to unstake them, so they can use them on Sapphire. So liquid staking is a big part of that, but BD will cover it. But yeah, Tadej, Harry, amazing updates. You guys are doing incredible work. Thank you for all the efforts. And I know I always say this, but our Explorer is really my favorite Explorer in all of Web3. And I just want to give a big shout out to our front end and UI team. And you guys are doing an amazing job. Yeah, okay, so this wraps up our engineering segment. And next we have BD. And for the BD, I have two amazing guys, which you already know. Matej Janes, BD manager, and William Wendt, ecosystem growth manager. You guys are probably tired of seeing their faces by now. You see them everywhere. Hi, guys.
Good. Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Okay, guys. We had a lot of growth over the last 6 months. Could you maybe summarize everything? I know it's a lot. I know we had a lot of partnerships, but yeah, I don't know. Do your best, I guess.
You want to go first, Matej, and then I can go?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we've seen a lot of new project integrations, which is, I think, crucial for an infrastructure project like us, right? We want to see that adoption of privacy, and if we look at the main ones, at least from my side, predictors have seen like a really nice steady growth during first half of the year since launch last year, and I believe that the growth will only continue here. Then we also had that nice Revolut cooperation with the Learn and Earn campaign, where I think we can, touch a community that's not potentially that Web3 native and enable them to learn about the Oasis tech, get to know it, maybe get their, toes wet. But I think it's a great channel to tap that, let's say, untapped market. From then also the first third-party Paradigm, right, Delta DAO. That was for me a very exciting partnership because one, it shows the usability of the Oasis network beyond just the privacy features that Sapphire offers, right? But also touches on the flexibility of the Paradigms, how it can fit the needs of potentially more enterprise users, because Delta DAO is focused on more on the Web2 space, and we love to see them be the bridge that helps bring partners like Airbus or the EDF subsidiary, French EDF subsidiary, onto Oasis to see what the tech can do, and to bring their data, their knowledge to our network and utilize it as it was envisioned from the start. So for me, these are kind of the key highlights for the first half of the year, and maybe you can speak more about the more native stuff on Sapphire.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to say that I couldn't be more excited for the things that Ocean is doing. It's seeing tremendous growth, and I think for a long time people were not worried, but they were interested in third-party paradigms. So I'm just excited that we're doing it there, and we're doing it in like a really cool space, an emerging market like AI with Pontus X. On like the native ecosystem side, I think we've had a lot of development. I don't think Illuminix had launched at the time of the last town hall, so pretty much anything that exists in our ecosystem on the DeFi side is an update. So that includes Illuminix and their confidential AMM or DEX, includes Vine and their CDP, includes Polychain Monsters and building the first confidential on-chain game. It includes, the things that we talked about at the ecosystem call. I guess they're not technically live yet, but they will be going live. They are live on testnet. They will be going live on mainnet hopefully within the next month. That's accumulated finance on the liquid staking side. That's Thorn protocol on the stable swap and stable lending side. That is Dowsis on the launchpad side. I think that we're getting pretty much all of the essential plumbing for a cohesive and collaborative ecosystem up and running, so that everything feeds into itself. This is something that I talked about in the ecosystem call 2 days ago. But it's really just interesting when you have all these DeFi Legos. Liquid staking in particular opens up so many use cases. So now you don't have to choose between securing our consensus layer by staking and then participating in our ecosystem. You can sort of do both. You can have your cake and eat it too. It opens up a lot of use cases. So for example, you could take your staked Rose now and then use that as collateral on Vine, and then use the Vine to mint VUSD. And the VUSD then is a stable coin that has like sort of MakerDAO or liquidity based sort of stability. And maybe now you use that VUSD in a stable swap protocol like Thorn to get Stellar Bridged USD. And now you can leave the ecosystem or move to other ecosystems if you need, and you have all the liquidity and all the features that you want there. And then you have Dowsis there to support any new product launching. I think they're going to be supporting Thorn, for example, when they launch their token, so that everyone has all the features and all of the sort of other Lego pieces that empower them available to them now. And so that's been like a really big breakthrough. Additionally, like we put up a lot of infrastructure. So we got Gold Sky, who's supporting us with subgraphs. This is critical for like developers and dApp builders, because they often want to build analytics pages and other things that improve user experience and user interfaces that need, and they're used to using subgraphs. So that's a big win for us. We also brought in Reclaim. Reclaim uses sort of ZKP technology, which is enhanced RTE technology, to do things like proof of humanity or civil resistance and things of that nature. So like you can sign into your Coinbase and create a zero knowledge proof that you're KYC'd on Coinbase, or you can sign into your Uber and create a zero knowledge proof that you have taken 100 Uber rides. And in this way, like you get civil resistance, you get sort of KYC or something analogous to KYC, which is super critical as we want to build like a compliant but confidentiality enabled ecosystem. This is something that we've always wanted, and I think that we're basically putting all the puzzle pieces together in that regard. One other one that is coming, but we haven't announced yet, is another bridge. I think that's a later topic, but yeah, these are some exciting developments that we've had. I probably missed a few, but yeah, hopefully that gives a good overview.
You can see who's a big DeFi fan looking at your wheel.
It's not just DeFi though. Polychain Monsters on the gaming side, I was super pumped about that.
I know. Our community is actually playing it, and our ambassadors are excited about it. So yeah, I actually bought an Android phone, especially for testing out our mobile wallet, because I'm an iOS user, and I was sad to know that Android comes first, and to test out Polychain Monsters.
Nice. Oh, and we also integrated Privy Wallet. It's another wallet that's super good for sort of mobile apps. So that was another one that Polychain sort of helped us spearhead that endeavor. Like I said, I probably missed a few, but I think
as I said, I wasn't expecting for you guys to cover everything because I know there were a lot of, like you guys have been really, really busy lately, and the BD team has expanded, so more hands on deck. And I think we should mention is that you can test out the liquid staking because it's in testnet and everything works fine apparently. So, but yeah, so guys, what can the community expect in the next 6 months? Who wants to take this?
I think I can go, at least for sort of the native ecosystem side. I mean, one, you can expect the mainnet launch of all the protocols I just talked about. I think you can expect another Opal bridge. You can expect us to be focusing on the last few remaining pieces of like the DeFi Legos. So this is like synthetics and lending. I think those are the two missing pieces. You can expect us to, now that we have our proof of concept game, expand in the gaming sector for those who want to build truly on-chain and Web3 native games, which, was a growing trend. And I think you can expect us to also have a lot of growth in the AI sector, as that's an emerging sector. It's still nascent, so no one really knows where it's going, but I think you can expect us to put a lot of effort there. And I think Marco is speaking next about that. I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that, Matej.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be, I think, a lot of focus on, as you said, secondary plumbing, then AI will have a lot of the mindset, right? Because with Golf, it unlocks just so many use cases. And obviously, I think we are going to be accelerating also the cross-chain, usage of privacy features and trying to onboard as many big projects as possible, to have them utilize those features as we see they're needed, right? But it's just, make it seamless for them to use and integrate. So I think we're on a good path here with all the additional bridges for OPL and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting second half of the year.
Yeah, and then I guess the one area I did forget was you can expect us to try to work on some of the user experience side of things. We do understand there's quite a bit of friction in getting into Sapphire. So a core initiative for BD right now is getting some centralized exchange listings that will support direct withdrawal to Sapphire. Hopefully we'll have more for you within the next coming months. But also like the bridges and things like that will also help with that.
And there's already a centralized exchange that supports Sapphire, right? Segex.
Yes, Segex. Yep, and they support Rosie as well. So
yeah,
for our community, I know that you guys are big.
Shout out to Rosie.
Yes.
Okay, we do have some questions from the community, and Will, the first one would be for you. The question reads like this. In the latest community call, Will mentioned the new bridge. Can you let us know the details of this? How will it enhance privacy, and does it have an AI component?
Yes, there's going to be a new bridge. I guess the major way it enhances privacy is it's an additional option for the Oasis privacy layer. So my vision, at least for the Oasis privacy layer, has always been to connect to as many chains as possible with as many different messaging protocols as possible, and then allow sort of developers and users to choose the ones that best fit their needs. You can imagine like a product that wants to do confidential voting. They probably want that bridge to be as secure as possible, and they don't care if it takes 20 minutes to send a message because they just waited a month in the government process. Whereas a gaming protocol, maybe there's only like $5 on the line. So they don't care about security too much, but they do really care about speed because that improves the sort of quality of life of the game. So I think connecting to as many bridges as possible basically just makes our network flexible in this cross-chain endeavor. So it brings privacy to more chains, and it brings more flexibility to the privacy we bring to those chains. Does it have an AI component? It's interesting. Like, I don't know how to call it an AI component, but it does have an intense component. So it does have like this autonomous logic component where there's these workers that are off-chain and solving, the sort of message passing. or at least that is one of the things that the bridge is capable of doing. Hopefully, we'll be announcing it within the month, so you'll get your answer soon. But it's going to be. I think I'm very excited to just expand basically our cross-chain capabilities for our ecosystem.
Of course, that's very important. Okay, second question. I guess, Will, do you want to take this? Like, Oasis is making its presence felt in DeFi strongly. However, in October 2023, the partnership with Thinter was inked for Cyro's launch in Q4 23. And now the first half of 24 is coming to a close. What are the updates on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually a great segue from the last question. Thinter basically is a cross-chain, omni-chain synthetics protocol. They have a few bridge partners. Unfortunately, Celerium was not one of those bridge partners. This new bridge that we're talking to is. So one issue with getting them on chain so far has been that we don't have a bridge that they support yet. But we knew that we were going to. So they could have launched without their bridge, and it would have been like just some of the functionality would have been lost, but it still would have been possible. But we decided to wait a little bit longer to make sure that we got these bridges, and so it launched in its full capacity. The other thing is Thinter is actually still in their testnet phase. They're having having I think like 6 rounds of different testnets. They really want to make sure they get the launch right and have all sort of the bells and whistles figured out and have the user experience entirely figured out. So they've had an extended period in their mainnet launch. So it also hasn't been like necessarily like, I guess, a priority to get them, since they haven't launched on mainnet anywhere yet. But yeah, with this new bridge, we'll try to get them on testnet, and then we'll try to get to mainnet pretty quickly. So that's the update there. And I think we're also talking to a few other derivatives / synthetics / perpetuals type DeFi projects, and hopefully we'll have updates for that this quarter. I would say this quarter is possible, this upcoming quarter.
Thank you, Will. Matej, I think this question suits you perfectly. The recent ecosystem call was very cool. Could we get some cross-ecosystem partners like Orichain from Cosmos and Crust and Apilon from Polkadot into the discussion for insights from diverse points of view?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there are more ecosystem calls planned because we see a lot of benefit here, to kind of showcase to the community what's in development. The ecosystem partners can present themselves, people get to know the products before even using them, and sometimes they don't even know about them, so that's a great entryway to kind of find new projects, and also talk about all the use cases, potential future plans. And we are definitely planning one with Apilon, so they can share their views on the cross-chain operability, how they will be using Oasis privacy for storing the private keys of multiple chains, not just EVM, right? And of course, the Orichain it will also be on one of those. So yeah, stay tuned. We're definitely going to be announcing more ecosystem calls like that in the future.
And next question, I think was already kind of answered, but like any big partnerships in the pipeline that you could share?
Yeah, I mean, it's always tricky, right? With how much we can share before it's finalized, right? I can say, maybe if you saw the ECC event, that's happening in Brussels in July, it's co-hosted by another project, so maybe we see something there. I can share that much. But yeah, more than that, I mean, it's always, it's always tricky, because until we operate under the kind of the model, under promise, over deliver, right? So not hype before we get there's something there. So yeah, that's I think that's all I'll be comfortable sharing, right?
You guys are giving too easy spoilers. Like check out our event in Brussels, and you'll see the partner. Will is like
Maybe.
a bridge that they're using. So now they're
people need to get out there. They're joining.
Yeah, of course,
so
of course,
a little bit, you know.
of course, I kid. Guys, thank you so much, and thank you for the tremendous effort you've been putting into this over the last few months. Since always, actually, but now that the ecosystem is starting to grow, things are more visible. Okay, so I guess we'll be moving to the next section, which is the AI narrative. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
And my guest for this is Marco, our recent addition to the BD team. Marco is also a BD manager, and he's focused on the AI narrative. Hi, Marco.
Hey, Michna.
I don't remember. Is this the first time the community gets to see your face?
We did a video in Berlin, but I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Now I remember. Yeah. So you already know Marco. Marco, I think for your first segment, you'll talk about the AI landscape in Web3, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll quickly turn off my camera because I need to plug in my laptop. I realized my charger wasn't unplugged.
Sure. So yeah, nice to meet everybody, even though I don't see anyone else. So I did join beginning of April, and I was just told, hey, do AI, because everybody's talking about AI. It's super hyped, and my job was mainly to figure out, hey, what are these projects actually doing? What's happening on chain? What's happening off chain? And where does Oasis fit in? So that's kind of what I focused on the past few months. And the culmination of all of this kind of was the AI landscape that we published very recently. There we kind of explored more than 100 projects and tried to group them in different segments. And we did take a couple of key takeaways out of this research. One was that within this grouping, you can notice kind of some concentration of projects. You have three main segments, which is on one hand, development platforms. That is like bigger ecosystems like Near. It of course includes someone like Oasis. And all of these platforms, they try to provide developers and communities the tools to build and grow AI projects. Everyone has their own angle. For us, it's of course confidentiality and verifiability. That's where we are the experts. That's where we can help the most. Then you have decentralized compute providers. This is big players like Akash, Aethir, or Render Network. Their main job is to use scarce resources that are kind of left in some data centers, some cloud providers, and distribute them to those that need it for AI development, but also, for example, in gaming use cases. And then the third big box of projects is creative applications. This actually includes a bit more diverse group of projects, because it's on one hand AI projects that use on-chain data to power off-chain AI, like for example with a bit smarter ChatGPT that actually kind of provides better crypto insights, but it's also crypto projects that use off-chain AI to power some on-chain agents, like we'll tease it a bit in the beginning. So these are kind of the three main segments. We can work with all of them. And when thinking about like, hey, how does Oasis fit in? We see two main things. On one hand, we have on-chain confidentiality. That's no surprise. That's our bread and butter. That's what Yanni mentioned in the beginning. We still have the only confidential EVM in production, and that's been in production for more than a year. So fortunately for the AI vertical specifically, we don't need to change anything. Like the confidential EVM is out there. What we need to do is kind of explain projects how they can use it. And we have a shining example on what you can do with a confidential EVM when you are an AI project. For example, Ocean's Predictor. They were looking to have the project as decentralized as possible, and they wanted to have AI agents that predict crypto prices. On any other EVM, you cannot post those predictions on-chain, because once you post it, everybody can see it, and then what's the point of it? You can't monetize it as an AI model builder, and then you wouldn't participate in this whole kind of ecosystem and economy. So they decided to build it on our ecosystem because you can actually post AI results with confidentiality on chain, and then kind of make it only available to those that subscribe to those data streams. And that's just kind of one example of what you can do. And projects are getting more creative with, for example, hosting private keys of on-chain agents that are powered by off-chain AI on Sapphire, because you cannot do it anywhere else. And what they did so far was just kind of store this locally, which is not very secure and not decentralized at all. So this is kind of the main angle that we have, and where we didn't need to adapt anything, because Sapphire as it has been built by our genius developers, just works for the AI projects as well. The second part is off-chain verifiability. If you look at all the AI projects currently, I would say like 90% of the value that's generated happens off-chain. And one problem is that what happens off-chain needs to be verified on-chain, or at least everybody should aspire to do so. And this is a bit more critical. Like here you have some attempts with ZKML, optimistic machine learning, but they have their downsides. So ZKML is generally not very scalable. It's rather expensive and complex. And optimistic machine learning is very scalable, but it's also not very secure, and it really has quite a bit of trust assumptions. And that's where we are pushing for TEML. And this is pretty much what Janne mentioned with Ruffle. So Ruffle, the runtime off-chain logic, it can allow for off-chain AI to be computed within a secure enclave, currently just for like simple models that are fine with a CPU, but we are planning on expanding this quite a bit. And once we kind of explain to projects what you can do with this, we feel like we can capture most of the value chain of most AI projects currently in the space. So these are kind of the two main attack vectors, let's say it like this, for Oasis within the space.
Okay, my next question would have been like, how do you expect us to shine in this sector? But I guess you already kind of answered this. So
yeah, that's pretty much it. Explain how AI
Yeah,
projects can
yeah.
use our confidential EVM, and
Yeah.
then have proper good documentation for this off-chain verifiability, which is now live on mainnet.
Yes. Yeah, we have a very solid foundation for this, and I love that you're actually focused on this sector for us. We have a couple of questions from the community regarding AI. So, first question would be, based on this drive to improve technology for the Web3 ecosystem, is the current framework for decentralized AI by Oasis going to be restricted to its ecosystem projects only? Or are there intentions to make it adaptable and compatible to dApps from other ecosystems?
Yeah, that's a great point. So it kind of goes to the first attack vector, the confidential EVM Sapphire, that is already out there. And the goal with Sapphire was always to make it also available to other projects where they can have just the confidentiality part on Sapphire and keep the rest somewhere else if they want to. And this is going to be the same for AI projects. So like you don't need to build everything here. You can actually go to ecosystems that kind of suit your needs better, and you just kind of focus on the confidentiality or privacy features and keep those on Sapphire, while having the rest somewhere, I don't know, somewhere like Base, where you have a great good TVL, you have big number of users, but they just lack the confidentiality.
Yeah. Okay, let me find the next one. Okay, if the above development for decentralization will factor in interoperability with other dApps outside Oasis, what technology stacks are being used to ensure compatibility between various decentralized AI components without compromising security?
Yeah, good point. I mean, verifiability with AI projects currently is being ignored quite a bit, because the very value that is actually generated just isn't that high. Like AI agents, they don't move that big amount of funds. But once this becomes relevant and people kind of go back and focus actually on security and verifiability, this will be really important. For interoperability with other ecosystems, what we can always guarantee is that the compute on Sapphire was correct, and that whatever we say through our kind of tools like Ruffle regarding verifiable off-chain compute, that this was also correct. What we then depend on from a security perspective is obviously the bridges, message passing bridges to other ecosystems. So we have already Oasis, or actually OPL, as our main segment to talk to other EVMs. And as Will teased, and a couple others as well, there will be another message passing bridge that should unlock even more use cases. But those will obviously always be kind of a security risk. But what we can guarantee is all of our compute.
Yeah, fair enough. Like, we can guarantee what others are doing, basically. Okay, and the last question, and I'll let you go, Marco. Can you, and I know this is tricky, but can you maybe hint to any big partnerships that might be coming regarding this sector?
I mean, actually, we announced a bigger one yesterday, and that was with Rivals. So Rivals is an AI data and intelligence layer. So they provide the actual data that you can use to train like custom AI models that you can use, for example, in gaming projects to have AI NPCs that are trained on your data. So it feels very real within this game, if you want to. That's something that we are exploring now quite a bit. Because they can benefit from lots of Sapphire features, but definitely also from Ruffle. So that's a bigger one that was announced yesterday. What's upcoming? I can say it's one with one of the bigger decentralized compute platforms. So that should be announced hopefully before FCC. And I'm really excited about it. And then, not really big, but that's what I'm actually more excited about is dApps that are building on Sapphire. We have quite a few that are in the kind of grant process, evaluating if they will get a grant, how much, or already approved, and now we just need to help them actually build. And there's quite a few coming, and that's what I'm even more excited about, because this actually uses AI on-chain on Sapphire.
Nice. I really love our BD department, like you. I said it before, I'll say it all the time. You guys are doing an amazing work. Okay, thank you so much, Marco, for joining us. And we'll move on to the next sector, which is community. So I guess I'll be taking this one and asking myself questions and answering them. No, I'm joking. So for the community, our main focus, as you know, is nurture the existing community, support them to the best of our ability, and I just want to give a shout out to our community moderator team. Like they're doing an incredible job, like 24/7 on the channels, full-time support. We also have a ticketing system we use for Discord and a live chat, I think, on our website. So we do get a lot of questions. Our moderators' DMs are always full, and I just want to appreciate them in this call. But other than that, our past initiatives from the 6 months. So we have launched at the end of last year. We have launched the Oasis Academy. And we have, I think, over 60 courses published on the Academy by now. And I just checked the stats before this town hall, and 52,000 people have taken at least 2 courses on the Academy. So I'm super proud and happy that that people are enjoying the content we're publishing. And we will have more and I would guess better content soon. So we're looking to do workshops with projects from other ecosystems. We'll have a surprise for the Academy users. We're working with the engineering department to create like a cool on-chain quiz with an NFT prize. I shouldn't have spoiled it, but yeah. That's kind of it for the Academy. This year we also launched. We moved the Odyssey from Daily to Guild and Galaxy, and we we launched 2 successful campaigns on both platforms, and in the future we're looking to expand on other platforms as well. And we're looking to do more on-chain quests, so the community can expect a new campaign which will be focused on onboarding users to our ecosystem. So you'll be able to interact with different dApps from our ecosystem, and of course get some rewards. One other huge initiative we're working on at the moment is the university program. So as you know, education is very, very important to us. That's why we have the academy, and we're looking to expand into universities as well. So our focus for the next 6 months is to get as many speaking slots as possible, host lectures, workshops with universities that are interested. We're also going to launch a web page dedicated for this, so students can or universities can reach out to us if they see any collaboration opportunities. So we'll be announcing this soon. We're now building the framework for it. Another cool thing that we're working on, but I really don't want to spoil this, but it's a new series of online events which will be fun, educational. We'll have a lot of cool people attending them. Again, I really don't want to spoil this. We'll announce it very, very soon, but just so you know, we're working on it. And of course, as your name mentioned as well, we're looking to expand into Asia. So this kind of ties in with our ambassador program as well, because we're going to be launching a new cohort for the ambassador program, so new people can join the Sentinels program. And we're actually looking for lots of people from the Asia region that can help us, because this new cohort will be focused a lot on ambassadors who can host local meetups on behalf of Oasis, attend conferences, because we have limited bandwidth. Like, we're not a team of 200 people that can just go to all the conferences all the time. So we're looking for support on that side as well. So yeah, a lot of cool initiatives in place. I'm really excited about what's coming up next. And oh, one more thing. Sorry, I forgot to mention. You will be seeing more ecosystem support from the community side as well. So we'll have more regular events with projects from our ecosystem on Telegram, on Discord, because I know we don't do this enough. Only Twitter Spaces, but our community on Discord, who's there all the time, like needs to be present for this as well. Yeah, that's kind of it for my sector. I don't have any questions from the community, so I'll move on to marketing, and I'll invite on stage Travis, our brand lead. Hi, Travis.
Hi, everyone.
Happy to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, we're really excited to just share some general updates from the marketing team. I'm sure everyone has seen the brand refresh that we announced at ETHDAM. A lot of work went into that to really launch phase 1 of the website with a brand new visual identity and messaging. We included some key community surveys to really understand what you guys wanted to see, as well as some key industry research to understand how to develop ourselves further, and to just distinguish Oasis as a leader in privacy. So what comes next? So what we launched was phase 1 of the website. Phase 2 will include a lot more new content, including specific pages and tons of interesting articles featuring the ecosystem, community, partnerships, and more. So keep your eyes peeled out for phase 2. We are working on that currently. And really, the next 6 months will be focused on establishing Oasis's share of voice in the privacy for Web3 and AI leadership space. So we are working on a lot of new content that focuses on our exciting projects and BD announcements. We have some projects in the works that we won't reveal here, but a lot of different things we're trying to incorporate, including video and audio, and just to create some new things that the community can be excited about and people outside of our community can also be excited about. So everything we're doing in regards to marketing will be aiming to create a stronger voice and brand awareness for Oasis. So in addition to new content, this will also include updated messaging and campaigns that improve our SEO actions and promote Oasis's technology. So Oasis Sapphire, as well as Raffle, the runtime off-chain logic framework. And we will also be really focused on detailing specific use cases for developers and users and how Oasis privacy can improve our internet experience at large. We will also be focusing on increasing our KOL marketing activations and pursuing some paid media with dedicated ad campaigns for all of our major activities. So that spans the events, that spans hackathons, and all that good stuff that we're doing. And yeah, we are really excited for the next 6 months and for future at large. Please keep your eyes peeled after the community town hall finishes because we have a very special blog that we'll be sharing with everyone.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Travis. Thank you for all the updates. Thank you for your guys' hard work. Yeah, I guess I'll move to events now. And for events, I'm happy to invite on stage Diana, our events lead. Hey, Diana.
Hi, Mihna. Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Okay, so I know we've grown a lot in terms of conferences we attend and sponsorships, and basically we have booth at all the conferences that we attend now. And most importantly, like ISDEM was a really big win for us. I don't know, I think we have members in the audience who attended, but everything was Oasis everywhere. So I was really happy to see that. And we also had a big billboard, a video billboard in the metro station. I think over 700,000 people saw that, or more. I don't have the exact number, but yeah, Diana, the events team, I know personally is working a lot because I'm traveling with you guys, and we're constantly huddling on Slack. Like, you guys are robots. I don't know how you can do it. Just so you know, there's only 2 people in the events team, and they do everything. So everything you're seeing in terms of conferences, online events, is these guys work. So we appreciate you a lot. But yeah, I'm gonna let you give us a few updates. What happened in the last 6 months? What comes next in terms of conferences, of events?
Of course. So you already mentioned ISDEM, and I think that's one of the biggest things that happened in the past 6 months for us in terms of events. Like you said, we painted Amsterdam blue. Everything was blue, from Central Station to the entire venue to the entire conference. Everything was Oasis blue, which was amazing. It was a great experience. We've also seen really good hackathon projects during ISDEM. This is a conference that's very much oriented towards hackers, so it has been very much up our alley. We've seen full rooms during our talks. We've seen people extremely interested in what we're building, extremely interested in what Oasis is doing. I think we can safely say that we had an Oasis conference without actually using the resources to plan an Oasis conference, which was the goal that we had in mind from the very beginning. And this is something that we are very, very proud of. And I hope that our community and whoever managed to either be there in person, or if you watched online what happened, because we tried to share as much as possible of it with the community, I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. And then you mentioned other events. In terms of other events, we have been quite busy from the beginning of the year. We started with Denver. I think everyone starts with Denver, right? It's the conference to start with. And then we were in Berlin for DAppCon. in Serbia, in Belgrade for ETH Belgrade. And yeah, there's a lot more coming up in terms of offline, like in-person conferences. And then, of course, we also increased our efforts in online events. We probably had a minimum of 4 to 5 online events per month in the past 6 months, from town halls to workshops to Twitter spaces, ecosystem calls, you name it. I think we planned it. And yeah, we've been seeing increasing numbers there as well.
Thank you again, Diana and Nelly. Let's give a shout out to Nelly as well. So ECC is coming up next. What do you have in plan for that?
ECC is coming up next. It's less than 2 weeks away, actually. So we have a lot planned for it. We have the second edition of the Oasis Rendezvous. I hope to see as many people from our community as possible there. We're going to be present at the main conference as well this year. So we're going to have a booth on the 10th and 11th. If you're there, drop by, say hi to our team. And of course, our team is going to be all around Brussels for the entire week, starting July the 8th and up until July the 13th. Oasis is going to be there.
I'll be there as well, so I'm happy to meet a lot of people in person. Already sent some invites for the Oasis Rendezvous. Okay, and can we maybe share some spoilers about upcoming stuff this year? Like, do we wanna?
I guess I can share some. I can do some spoilers. So I think the most interesting spoiler that I have is that you are going to see the second edition of the Privacy for Web3 Hackathon this year. Only it's gonna be a little bit different because this time it's going to be Privacy for Web3 and AI. So that's pretty much all I can share right now.
I think that's more than enough. I think that will get people excited. Okay, Dan, and there's one question for you from the community. So looking forward to Oasis Rendezvous in conjunction with ECC Brussels. Last year's edition of Paris focused on privacy and kickstarted the Privacy for Web3 Hackathon. What will be the theme this year at ECC Brussels, considering the big reveal of brand refresh already took place in ETH?
We already spoke about ETH and the brand refresh. Something that we didn't mention that also happened at ETH was that we also announced our intention to focus more on AI to increase our efforts in this field. So for this year, I think there's going to be 2 main themes. So we are going to have obviously AI, and along with that, we are going to have real-world assets as a theme as well, and that's due to partnering with Midas for the rendezvous.
Nice. Thank you so much, Diana, for joining and sharing all the updates.
Of course.
Okay, so next we have operations and culture, and this is the last section. So we'll be closing in style. I want to invite to the stage Andrea, our head of HR and culture, and Mark, director of operations.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, guys.
Hello, Mark. And I just want to thank you both for creating such a nurturing environment to work at Oasis. I don't think I ever felt that supported and appreciated in any other place. I don't say this enough, but Oasis is the best place to work at. So thank you so much, both of you.
Music to our ears, right, Mark?
Glad to share. Yeah.
Guys, so I mentioned the team building, the offsite in my intro. So could you maybe give us a bit more details about that?
Yeah, definitely, Andrea. If you allow me, I'll take the initiative, and then you can add more comments. So this month we had an amazing We had an amazing summit. We always like to focus not only on team building, but also on the activities kind of where we can improve ourselves on the planning, strategy, execution. So we also reflected on the first half of the year, so what we achieved, and we achieved a lot. Like you guys heard, we did a lot of amazing things. And we also focused on the second half of the year, right? And on the 2025 as well. So we have a lot of big things coming up. I'm not going to share spoilers, but you've heard some today. But yeah, I think the 2024 second half of the year and 2025 will be extremely exciting for us. We have a lot of big things happening, partnerships, events, conferences, community driven events. But yeah, I would say that if I can share just some reflection, the way I look at us and what we've accomplished, we've done a lot. We've focused a lot on AI. We've always had our eyes on AI. We had the capabilities to be one of the big players in AI, and we did this. Obviously, with the release of Rofel soon. And then, obviously, we did the rebrand in April. We were one of the main sponsors at EDAM, where the focus was on privacy. We had a lot of projects that kind of joined our hackathon, which was extremely exciting. A lot of new community members, a lot of developers. We expanded the teams. We did a lot of focus also in terms of grants on AI. Within the BD department, we also have, an AI specialist, part of the team that's focused solely on AI projects. We improved and added some processes, to kind of optimize. And obviously, we heard the events team. The focus also for us is to be present everywhere our community is growing, right? And we have a long list of all the events and conferences where we'll be extremely excited to meet you guys and kind of to share some thoughts and expand. But yeah, a lot of initiatives, a lot of things going on. Extremely happy, expanding the team. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great summary, Mark. Thanks for that. And maybe I can kind of chime in with, the question was around the offsite. And yeah, I think that's just something that we will continue doing. Twice a year, we meet up in person, and it does truly contribute to our bonding, to our team culture. We have been hyper-focused on our culture and just making sure that we're co-creating an environment where everyone can thrive. And this is not a single person's job. This is also not just leadership's job. Actually, if anything, in our team, what really can be seen very well is that our team's very passionate about growing, and we do have a strong growth mindset. So I think that definitely contributes towards being the tide that raises all the boats to one another. When it comes to just in general, the operational HR recruitment side of things, maybe it's good for us to touch on the fact that we have expanded our team for quite a bit in the last 6 months. Obviously, you have met Mark at one of our Meet the Oasis team sessions just last week. He joined us as our Director of Operations. We also had reinforcements with Anka and Nico joining as our community moderators. Robert and Marco joined our BD team, and Jamie is an additional recruiter next to Ash, who you already know as the community. And obviously, we are still looking to further expand our team in the next 6 months. So I would love to invite everyone who is interested in working or potentially joining Oasis in one capacity or another to look at our careers page. There are quite a few positions open. And luckily, we do have a good recruitment process, which is hopefully going to help us finalize some of these open roles soon. But I'm not going to spill any beans for now because nothing is finalized yet. And we will be making those announcements in the community when obviously we do hire the right people for our team. So that's kind of it from my side as well. Any other questions from the community for us, Minya?
That was kind of actually one of the questions from the community, if Oasis will introduce the new team members to the community, but I guess we can't spoil it yet.
We can't, I'm afraid. We're just not there yet in terms of the process, but yes, big roles are being filled. And like I said, because of the quality of those roles and the candidates applying, I can't say anything until contracts are signed and things are set in stone, I guess.
I know, but just so that the community is aware, we are hosting lots and lots and lots of interviews. So we have a lot of candidates in the pipeline for all the roles we have listed. So
yes, we do, and don't forget, obviously, we are still accepting new applications. So anyone who feels called towards a position that is open and posted on our jobs page, feel free to apply and reach out. We would love to introduce you into the process and recruitment. Obviously, if you know the experience and everything else is there. But yeah, I think it's always going to be the case. We are a team that is looking to grow and expand, and we are always looking for skilled individuals. So I think that's kind of a given for our operations department.
exactly. Yeah, because as we've said, and as it has been covered in all the sections, we have a lot of initiatives happening. Our team needs to expand. We have a lot of cool things that will launch soon. So yeah, I'm super excited about meeting new people.
Likewise.
Me too.
So thank you so much, guys, again for everything, for supporting the team, for making us feel appreciated. Thank you for joining this call and sharing the updates. I guess this is the final segment for us. So I'm just gonna wrap up the town hall in just extending a heartfelt thank you to everyone in our community for basically the continued support and sharing feedback and being here for all these events, meeting us at conferences. Like these contributions are pivotal to the future of Oasis. And as you've seen in all the updates, this is a collaborative effort for making Oasis the leading privacy protocol in the space, because we're basically building a privacy focused ecosystem that stands out, and we look forward to continuing this journey with you and achieving all the milestones. Again, thank you to everyone for joining us today. Thank you to our team for taking the time to do this. I know you guys are all busy, but yeah, let's keep pushing those boundaries and making Oasis great. Have an amazing day, everyone.